Hello and welcome to the GeoSMART how-to video series. I'll move my head out of the way so we can have the whole screen. I wanted to note, if you haven't seen the introductory video or if you need some help getting the GeoSMART, be sure to go back and view the first video in the series. I'll put a link to the video in the description below. Often you can find additional information in a more info link located just beneath a video in the YouTube viewing window. Let's jump over to YouTube, and you can see here down below we have our video description here, but then we also have a Show More link. Click the Show More link to find additional information such as longer video descriptions, web addresses to other resources, or a list of chapter links to specific topics in that video. For mobile users, the More Info link will appear as a down-facing arrow on your mobile device. Okay, let's get started on GeoSMART. In this video, we'll take a look at the general structure of an app on GeoSMART and take a closer look at each of the tools available. Our goal here today is to get familiar with the general interface of a web app on GeoSMART. While some GeoSMART web apps are slightly different, most will have many, if not all, of the components that we'll go over today. Let's choose a web app to use as our example web app. Click on the parcel search card to access this application. Wait for just a moment as the map and layers render. Our first task will be to view the informative splash screen that appears after clicking various app cards and accessing a web application. Some splash screens provide a disclaimer for data presented, and others provide detailed instructions for how to get the most out of that particular application. After you have read the message, you can click the checkbox to inform the system not to show the splash screen the next time you come to this page. Click OK to dismiss the message. Before we dive into this application, let's take a moment to view the structure of the page. While I point out each tool, notice how most buttons and tools have a tooltip that emerges as the mouse pointer hovers above them. Tooltips are little bits of text that tell you what the tool is for. Most cards on GeoSMART have this basic layout, including title, search box, overview window, additional search, measurement, print, attribute table, legend, layers, basemap switcher, share, coordinate conversion, notification, a map markup tool, the pointer coordinates display, map scale, zoom in, zoom out, home, and a location button. Depending on the application, some of the available tools will change and sometimes additional tools will be present. We'll take a look at individual apps and the differences between them in upcoming videos. Try clicking a tool to enable it. Most tools will have an additional window that appears for controlling the tool and getting results. Click the button again to turn off the tool. This is a key takeaway. Tools are enabled and become active when the tool is clicked, and then turn off and become inactive when clicked again. Let's go clockwise around the map to look at each tool in depth, starting from the 12 o'clock position. The main search bar. The title bar across the top of the screen shows the name of the current web app. The NRGC Bronco World icon to the left of the title is itself a link to GeoSMART 2.0 Data Portal homepage. On the right of the title is the primary search field for address and place name searches. You can see a hint written into the text box to remind you what to search for here. To search for an address or place name, simply start typing an address or a parcel address for the location you wish to search for. You can also enter a place name, such as City Hall, Library, Health Department, just to name a few. Different web apps may provide different search options. You can check what targets are searched in a particular search box by clicking the tiny triangle on the immediate left of the search's text box to see all the layers that will be searched when a text string is added to the text field. See how the word all is illuminated? By default, each search will look into each of these search sources when a search term is entered. If the object of a search is known to derive from a specific layer, you could limit the search focus by selecting a specific search layer here, but most of the time this is unnecessary. As address and names are entered in the search box, potential matches will be displayed in a list below. This is helpful if you aren't sure whether the address you are entering is a road, avenue, or a street, or when you aren't positive about the exact address or place name that you are looking for. Be aware that if a partial address is used or a place name search has commonality across several potential matches, the list of potential matches may not display all the possible matches to that parcel. It will only be a subset. and that's usually just 5 to 10 possible candidates. If the result is not coming up and the exact search term is not known, modify the text a little bit and see if the match list can focus the potential candidates to something that you can use. Let's try entering the parcel name David Street and see what happens. See how the result candidates corresponding to David Street are listed below the search box. Also see how no address for North David Street appears. This is because the first potential candidate the system found are all South David. Instead of writing out the word North, try adding N in front of the David Street to find North David Street addresses. Here's a pro tip. When we are searching addresses, the address that we enter will have a better chance of being matched when we use standard abbreviations for street directions and street types. North becomes N, South becomes S, Street becomes ST, Court becomes CT, and etc. These abbreviations are what are present in the data behind GeoSMART. One more thing about the candidate list. See also that candidates are grouped by the search category from which they came. When we see a candidate that is close to or matches, click that entry and the map will zoom into that selection. If we choose a potential search candidate that isn't quite right, no worries. Just close out of the search using the X next to the text box and start the search again. This time choosing another candidate and hopefully the correct one. Getting to the data that is the subject of inquiry is half the battle in GIS and in online mapping. Using search and navigation tools effectively will help us get to where we are seeking information quickly and efficiently. Happy searching. Panning the map. No, we are not trying to get gold from the map. Panning here refers to moving the map around to adjust the map's view. To do this, move your mouse pointer to a location on the map. Click and hold your mouse button and move the mouse around to pan the map. Release the mouse button and click and hold in another location and move the mouse around again. We'll see that the map moves around some more. If you are on a laptop with a touchpad interface rather than a full mouse, many times you can simply double tap the touchpad and hold your finger down on the last touch, then move around to pan. The overview window. Look at the top right of the screen to see 3 or 4 additional buttons. The button in the very top right looks like a tiny eye that is crossed out. Clicking this button will show an overview window for the current map. This map overview window is helpful when we are zoomed in closely to a map and would like to have some context about where we are in relation to the region as a whole. Let's try it out by using the plus icon to zoom into the center of the map. Now let's click and hold the mouse button anywhere on the map and move the mouse around. Notice how the map overview window moves around based upon where I am panning the map in the main window. Inside of the overview window, notice how the darkened rectangle in the overview moves around as I pan the map in the main window. The darkened area in the overview window represents the area that we can see in the main map window. Hovering over the overview window, we'll notice how the mouse pointer changes to an arrows out icon. Here we can try dragging the rectangle around. See how the main window now updates to panning from the overview window. One more thing about the overview window. In the very top right of the window, you can see a small bounding box icon. Clicking this tiny bounding box icon will expand the overview window to full screen. And once we do that, it'll switch the view back to the main map view with the updated focus. Turn off the overview window by clicking the icon once more. The additional search button. Below the overview window eye icon is the additional search button. Click the magnifying glass to enable the additional search. A hint is written into the text box to show what type of information can be searched here. Again, click the tiny triangle to the left of this search box to view the data layers that are being searched from the list items that are present here. In this case, we're searching ownership, legal description, geocode par ID, subdivision name, permit application, and PLSS township. If there is interest to try, say, the county's unique ownership number called geocode, start typing 3379 into the additional search to see what we get. The first properties found by the search matching this common geocode octet appear in a potential match list below, just like the address place name search. Clicking a result will zoom us to that location. Click the home button to return to the original map view. Unless you have specific terms to search in the other potentially unfamiliar search types, we can keep it simple for now by searching owner and subdivision names. We can get into the other search types a little further down the road. Next, we have the measurement tool. Below the additional search magnifying glass icon, you'll find the measurement tool. Click the button to enable and show the controls for this tool. The measurement tool interface has three parts: area measure, linear measure, and a location coordinate measure by way of latitude-longitude. You'll see a notice at the bottom of the control window indicating that holding the control button will enable snapping. Snapping is a word we use to signify the connection of features during editing. You may be familiar with snapping if you have ever used a drawing application that connects the final line of a shape to the first line of the shape with no space in between the first and the last point. When creating points, lines, and polygons and mapping, we can snap those items to each other when needed so that there are no gaps between features. In this case, snapping here refers to snapping on the lines created by the measurement tool only, not to other features or Basemap items. This can be a little frustrating if you'd like to get a good measurement from one map feature to another. What you can do to make the measurement as precise as possible is to zoom into the map as close as you can to the item you would like to measure. Click the Start, Intermediate, and ending points of your measurement. Double-click to complete the measurement. The measurement is displayed in the Measurement Tool window. We can change the measurement units by selecting a unit from the drop-down. When finished, click the Clear button to remove the measurement from the map. The Print tool. Below the Measurement tool is the Print button. Due to system differences and varying printer configurations, the Print tool does not directly print to your device. What it does do is print your map to a PDF document that you can use to print to your device if you want to have a hard copy, or would like simply to have a digital map document that you can use on your computer or share with others. A default title is provided for the Print tool. Feel free to change this title to your own. In the Layout field, use the drop-down menu to choose a print size and orientation. The Print tool defaults to a standard ANSI A print size in landscape orientation. If you are unfamiliar with standard print sizes, just search for ANSI paper size chart out on the internet. If we do that, we can see an ANSI A is an 8.5 by 11 size sheet of paper. Moving to the Format dropdown, the Print tool is set to default to the PDF document type, but the format can be changed to different image types, depending on your preference. Additional parameters for our print output can be customized using the Advance button. Here we can preserve scale or extent, force a desired scale, add author name, change output height and width, adjust the DPI, and so on. DPI stands for dots per inch and is mainly associated with print quality. Most of the time we need a quick map, and the extra parameters shown here are unnecessary. But if they work for your purpose, feel free to adjust these items. A little later, we'll find that we have to adjust DPI to get a good print. Keep in mind that you may have to try a few prints using custom parameters before you get it just right. When you are ready, click the Print button. The system will begin generating your map document in the format that we specified earlier. A link will appear when the document is generated, and we can download the printed document. Once downloaded, open the file in a program available on your computer. Here I am using the free Adobe Reader to open the printed map in PDF format. If I am happy with the download and need it in physical form, I can send this on to my own personal printer to print a hard copy. Otherwise, I can simply use the PDF on my computer or send it to a friend or colleague. Let's zoom in tight, and we can see that the road names are pixelated. Let's close the file and return to the print dialog to adjust the DPI to hopefully take care of this issue. See that the DPI is at a low level. Let's erase that number and enter something much higher. How about 300? With our DPI set, let's hit the Print button once more. You can see in our print list, a new print will be generated under number 2. Once that is complete, let's click the second option to download that file and open it in Adobe Reader. If we zoom in nice and close now, we can see that the road names are showing up much clearer. This will work for our purpose. The attribute table. Continuing down the right side of the screen, at the bottom right corner, you will see a button with a spreadsheet icon. This button, when clicked, will turn on the attribute table view. The attribute tables that are initially available in the Property and Ownership web app are ISD boundary, county zoning, and the ISD tracking table. ISD stands for Improvement Service Districts. Simply put, ISDs are areas outside of an incorporated municipality where residents of that specific geographic area have organized together to maintain the area's utilities and/or transportation improvements. In general, attribute rows in an attribute table refer to each feature on the map, and each feature on the map has a connection to its row in the attribute table. Often non-geographic in nature, attribute data provide additional descriptive information about each feature in tabular form. Many GeoSMART web apps provide the attribute table behind a button similar to this one on Property and Ownership, but some, such as the Realtor view, hides the attribute table in a clamshell pop-out that emerges from the bottom of the map screen when an up arrow is selected. We'll take a look at different web app configurations when we get into specific cards. Generally speaking, attribute tables will be available in some form on most GeoSMART web apps. Inside the attribute table for ISD boundary, if we choose the ISD record for 33 Mile, using its selection handle, we can see this boundary highlighted on the map even though the layer is not turned on the layers list. Let's go to the layers list and turn this layer on. Now that it is turned on, 33 Mile still does not become viewable. Why is that? Notice that the text in the layer list has a gray tone and is not black like some of the other layers. The gray tone indicates that this particular feature is not viewable at the current map scale, but will turn on and its label will become black text once we zoom into the appropriate scale. Scale parameters are set when the web apps are created and published for public view. Once we zoom in close enough, 33 Mile ISD becomes visible, and we can click to get a pop-up showing additional information for the feature. The attribute tables we can see on each web app depend on settings configured when that particular web app was created. If you aren't seeing attributes on one map that you wish to see, we usually can enable attribute tables from other layers in the map for the current session by turning the attribute table on for each layer manually. This setting is located in the ellipses menu beside each layer. We'll get to session customizations in a bit. If we focus on the attribute tables available in the current view, we can switch to the different attribute tables that are available by selecting their name from the top of the attribute table window. Just click the table names right smack dab on the title text. Each table, apart from the ISD tracking, will be filtered to the currently viewable area on your map by default. What's different about ISD tracking, you ask? ISD tracking is actually a related table. Related tables are standalone tables only, meaning that they have no geographic element. Rather, records here are related to records that are map features that are represented on the map. In this case, ISD tracking represents records that relate to each record in the ISD boundary feature. A related table expands the data available to a map layer by representing, say, a different record type, perhaps with additional columns and date fields that supplement the map layer and sometimes show attached document records. One more thing about the attribute table, and it's a good one, is the ability to filter table records by the values present in the table. What I mean is we can query map layers to show only those records that match criteria that we apply based on categorical values we find in the attribute table. To demonstrate this, I'll first toggle the filter by map extent to off on the ISD boundary layer. Next, let's click the options dropdown and select filter. It's the icon that looks like a little oil filter. A blank filter dialog will appear. A message at the bottom of the window informs us without a query expression. This query task will list all features in the data source, but we're trying to filter this layer, so let's create an expression. Click the Add Expression link to show the query text boxes. On the far left is a box that looks populated with a value. Click the drop-down. Do these labels look familiar? Again, these are all the column headings from the attribute table, just in list form. Let's say that we want to see only those ISDs that are water districts. Select the column heading from the list for district type. Leave the query modifier to is and select the final drop-down on the right to see the summarized value available in this field and choose the option for water. Click OK to set the query. adjust the attribute table size, and now we can see that only those ISDs that are water districts are shown. Now we can double-click the selection handle to get the map to pan to each record's boundary on the map, or you can select the record and use the Zoom to action on the attribute table toolbar. If we clear the selection now, it will unselect the selected record, but leave the query in place. Click the filter icon from the options dropdown once more to see this. Remove the query by clicking the X. Alternatively, since we know that the web apps will revert to their default state once the session is restarted, we can simply refresh the page and this will clear the query along with any other options we've changed. Sometimes this can be the easiest. Have fun investigating the additional information you can find out about the map by investigating the corresponding records in the attribute tables. The bottom centered toolbar. Now let's move to the colored circle tools at the bottom center of the map window. From the left, the first circle is colored blue and has what looks like a bulleted list icon. This button tool will enable the map legend when clicked. Clicking the legend button displays a window showing the map's legend. A map legend provides a key to the symbols found on the map and shows a short description of what each symbol means. The map legend is connected to the map scale, and symbols will update as different features become visible at different map scales. Let's zoom into the map and see how the legend symbols change as layers become visible on the map. The legend screen and other screens that appear from the other tools on this row can be moved around the map by grabbing the top of the menu bar and moving it around the map. Move the legend and other tool menus around so that you can still see the object of interest on your map. The second tool from the left is the layers list. Here is where we can toggle layer visibility on or off. Sometimes when a map is too busy, too many layers, or when we have a specific purpose in mind for our map, not all data layers will be relevant. Use the layers list to toggle layers off that are not useful, or check a layers box when that layer is useful. When I am using web apps and that web app has many layers that are turned on, I will cheat a bit by using the icon in the top right of the layers list menu and selecting the turn all layers off. Then I can go back and select the layer that I want and toggle that one on. This action will uncheck all layers. Why doesn't the entire map go blank? Well, the entire map doesn't go blank because web apps always have what is known as a base map beneath the operational layers. We'll get into base maps on the next tool, but first, let's finish with the layers list. If you click on features on the map, you will most likely get a pop-up card that informs you of specific details about the feature that you clicked on. Any feature that has pop-ups enabled will provide a pop-up card, and multiple pop-ups can appear when you click the map where multiple features exist. Let's try it now. See how multiple cards appeared when I clicked this address point? This is because multiple features with pop-ups enabled exist beneath the location of the mouse click. If you find a feature that does not have pop-ups enabled by default on that particular map, you can find that layer in the layers list. Once located, click the ellipses menu icon to the right of the layer title. In the menu that appears, click the Enable Pop-ups option. Now when that feature is clicked, a pop-up will appear showing the attributes for that feature. Moving on to the next tool, we find an icon of 4 boxes on an orange background. This is the Basemap tool. Click this button to display a list of base maps that you can use on this map. What's a base map? A base map serves as a reference map upon which you overlay the operational layers available to you from the layers list. Base maps can be made of feature, raster images, or web layers. Base maps are the foundation for web maps and provide context for working with feature layers and provide location reference for features that don't change often. Buildings, streets, rivers, lakes, roads, elevation, etc. Some base maps are a stylized version of a map, while some represent an elevation surface or aerial photography. NRGC works with other partners to create a new aerial photograph of our region every 5 years. The latest version of this aerial photograph is the 2020 MPO Aerial Mosaic. The 2020 Aerial Mosaic is a 3-inch resolution aerial photo for the area inside the Metropolitan Planning Organization boundary, or MPO. Outside the MPO, the latest aerial photo base map is called the 2020 Natrona County Aerial Mosaic. This photo is 6-inch resolution. Both of these aerial photographs were flown in May of 2020. Choose a base map that you like and that fits with the purpose of your map. For my map, the OpenStreetMap works well for my map's purpose, because it shows a nice stylized version of common area details so that the map layers I want to focus on are distinct and readily discernible. The Share tool. Next, we have the Share tool. This tool provides a shortened link that you can use to share your map with others through email or through any of the social media links that are available under the link text box. If you find that layers you've checked on the view that you have set in your map are not transmitting through the share link, return to the GeoSMART tab and click on Link Options. Here we can check a box to preserve layers of visibility. This action will preserve the layers that we've checked so that when the link is shared, the layers will be maintained as we've configured them. In addition to layers visibility, with link options, we can also use the options to set additional parameters, such as preserving the map center and zoom level, defining map center and scale, querying a feature to zoom to, and adding a marker to the map. Let's add a marker to our map so we can share a place to meet our friends who are arriving from out of town. I want to meet them at David Street Station before the big concert. So I'll enter that location in the search box. Choose the common name that matches my search from the result candidates below. The map will update to our location. Once there, let's zoom in just a bit more and turn off the common name pop-up so we can see the David Street Station layout. It looks like the base map we chose earlier does not work for this particular location because the area has been redeveloped after the creation of the base map. Let's choose one of the base maps managed by the City of Casper and the NRGC, the 2020 MPO aerial mosaic, so we can better place our point. Okay, that's better. Now let's turn on the Share tool and choose Link Options. Select the radio button for Add a Marker to the map. Let's fill in some details about our marker and give it a label that will show up on the map for our friends. Turn on Remember Layer Visibility and copy the URL text from the preview window. Test the link by opening a new tab and pasting in the copied link text. Let's hit Enter to see the result. Okay, that worked. We can now share this link with our friends and meet them for the big concert at David Street Station. Your base map choice will not be preserved when sharing this link. If you'd like to embed the map in a web page, use the parameters near the Embed options. Choose the size of your iframe or enter a custom value. Select the iframe text from the bottom window of the share screen and paste it into the code for your website. The next tool in the bottom center toolbar is the Coordinate Conversion tool, shown by the XYZ label. Use this tool to find multiple ways of describing coordinates of a chosen location on your map. Click the location icon to select the Point Picker tool. Click a spot on the map and the tool will fill in the various flavors of coordinate values for that location. If you have latitude, longitude coordinates or any of the coordinate types found here, US National Grid, UTM, etc., you can directly enter those coordinates to update the map to that location and convert the entered coordinates into the available formats simultaneously. I was given the latitude, longitude values for the Ford, Wyoming Center in degrees, minutes, and seconds, and I want to see those values in decimal degrees. I'll be entering this location's degrees, minutes, and seconds into the text box here. The format is currently set to decimal degrees, and I need to enter the values in a different format. So I'll use the gear icon next to this entry to switch this coordinate type to degrees, minutes, and seconds. Each type format provides an example in the text box to the right to remind us what structure the system is looking for in the coordinate string. Click Apply to set the format. Next, I'll paste my string into the text box and hit Enter. The map updates to my new location and provides coordinate conversions in the text boxes below. Next, we have the Mailing and Notification tool. This tool provides users the ability to select a distance and create a buffer around a chosen address point to find the mailing addresses surrounding the starter address. This tool is useful if a notice needs to go out to the neighborhood, or if you are hosting a big barbecue and want all your neighbors to attend. Enter an address into the search box. Here we'll use 113 West 1st Street. Check the box to apply a search distance for the buffer. The map will zoom out to the extent of the 300-foot buffer surrounding the starter address point. The tool's result tells us that 34 addresses fall within the 300-foot buffer, and these results can be downloaded in any of the formats provided in the drop-down menu. CSV is a comma delimited list and can be imported into a spreadsheet. And the other formats are PDF type formats that can be printed from your home printer to mailing label sticky paper, if you so choose. The drawing tool. Finally, on this toolbar, we have the drawing tool. This tool allows you to mark up the map with point markers and various drawing types such as lines, circles, shapes, and text. The markups you make will remain true to the map scale at which they are created, and will scale accordingly as you zoom in and out or pan around the map. This is pretty useful. Moving on, let's take a look at the bottom left of the map window. Here we find a map scale that updates as the scale of the map changes in the map window. When we get close enough, the scale units change from miles to feet. Zoom in one step at a time and notice how the scale changes according to how the map scale changes in the map window. Just above the scale bar is another descriptive tool that shows the current coordinate values in longitude and latitude decimal degrees. Decimal degrees is a numeric method for conveying degrees, minutes, and seconds in a numerical floating number. Hover your mouse pointer over the compass rose icon on the left side of the longitude-latitude display. Click the compass rose icon. The compass rose icon will turn a shade of blue. The longitude-latitude bar changes to text, instructing you to click the map to get coordinates. If we click anywhere on the map now, we'll be shown a point symbol and coordinates for that location. If we continue clicking around the map, the point symbol will update and the coordinate value for that point will be shown in the longitude-latitude bar. Navigation tools. Directly beneath the NRGC Bronco World icon in the top left area of the screen, right around the 10 o'clock section of the screen, we find a set of 3 or 4 small buttons. Clicking the Zoom In button will bring the map closer to you and reduces the area shown on the screen. It's the one with the plus on it. The Zoom Out button pushes the map further away and increases the area shown on the screen. It has a minus sign on it. The Home icon resets the map to the original view of the application. This just adjusts the map scale. It does not reset any filter or selection that you may have. The Target icon can be used to show your current position as a blue dot on the map. We just have to grant location access to GeoSMART. To grant location access to GeoSMART, click the Target icon. If you haven't granted GeoSMART location access before, a dialog will appear with the Allow and Block buttons. Click Allow to grant this access. If you ever want to revoke location access to GeoSMART, just open your browser's settings and find the screen for location access. I am using the Chrome browser at the moment. However, location access can be found in most browsers and modified in much the same way. Find the list of websites where location access has been granted and click the trash can to remove location access. Next time you wish to enable this functionality, simply click the target icon again to get your current location to appear on the map. The pop-out screen. On the left of the screen is an informative pop-out describing additional details about the current map. What type it is, when it was last updated, when it was first published, what is the visibility for this view. You can click the View Full Details link to see the front page for the application in the kind of overview detail view. Here, additional descriptive information for the web app is provided. If the pop-out tile seems to be crowding your view of the map area, and this is what we came for in the first place, simply hover over the little tabs that are sticking out from the side of the pop-out and click the white information eye. Clicking here will collapse the pop-out into the left side of the screen. If we ever need it to reappear, hover back over the More Info tab, which is now blue, and click it again. To re-hide the pop-out, click this button once more. Okay, that just about sums up the general layout and tools available on most of the web apps available to you from the GeoSMART cards. Tune in next time as we get into other cards and see what is available on each. Have a great day.